Hello and welcome to the Winter Project. Today's one of those days, and by one of those days, I mean one of those days where I don't really have an idea, but that's fine, we'll make something up. While we're making something up, let's go to our comments. By the way, I've made 206 videos. I don't remember surpassing 200, but that must have happened at some point in the past, week. So that's cool. Then Gazna says, it would be neat if the whole population of the planet could move every few months to the places where the weather is perfect there that time of year. It's super hot where I am. I wish we could trade some of our temperature degrees. I also wish that, Glenn. That's a really good idea. If you can arrange that, go for it. Jack Brady says, you should do a video all about Sword-Leaf Hellborn. I was researching for this video. If you haven't seen the first episode of the Winter Project, then I explain a little bit about what it is there, but I did go onto Wikipedia today. It's definitely an orchid. I keep saying that it's an orchid and not quite knowing, but it's definitely an orchid. It's in Eurasia. I think it's endangered in England and then more common in South Spain and South France, and it's pronounced not Helleborine. I don't remember how it's pronounced. Hang on, let me...
Helleborine.
Helleborine! Helleborine! I much prefer Helleborine, so we're just gonna stick with that. The definition on Google says that it's mainly a woodland orchid occurring chiefly in north temperate regions. So that's a lot of complicated words. Not really. Chiefly in temperate. There was a massive spike in the use of the word Helleborine in the 1950s. So that's interesting. Maybe orchids were a thing then? Okay, what are we gonna talk about now? Goodreads. Sup, Goodreads? Let's talk about books. Okay, friends, I'm gonna talk about all the books that I've read this year. There are 17 of them. The first book I read was Looking for Alaska by John Green. That was a reread. I have read that previously. John Green wrote a new book, and it's gonna be available in October. I'm very excited about it. If you haven't heard, it's called Turtles All the Way Down. Great title, John. Looking forward to it. Then I read Sidekicks by Will Kostakis, and I read it, and then I went to a library gig of his, and then we went out for burgers, because I'm just really cool and hip and know Australian authors. Then I read Game Theory by Barry Johnsberg, which was kind of scary, but also great. Barry Johnsberg is my third favorite author. I've worked out the order. It's a bit fluid, but at the moment, it's Elizabeth Honey, Owen Cole for Barry Johnsberg, and then just everyone. Suffering by Hannah Hart is behind me. Yeah! That was really great. I'm a little bit of a massive Hannah Hart fan, so that was a cool thing to read. Horrible Histories, Frightful First World War and Woeful Second World War. Those books are great. I read this because I'm doing 20th century history in school this year, and that was just a cool thing to brush up on my history. It wasn't especially useful in that it told me about gross weird things and not really about anything that happened, but that's okay, because I much prefer the gross weird things to World War II started in 1939 and ended in 1945 is my impression of something. I'm not scared by an Italian guy whose name I've forgotten. Niccolo Ammaniti? Maybe. I'm probably wrong about that. I read this book for school, so I feel like I'm a little bit biased against it. It was alright, but I read it for school, so. Cloud Wish by Fiona Wood was interesting. It was a little bit plotless, but I kind of liked that. It wasn't totally plotless. It sort of drifted along, and it was about boys. Pink by Lily Wilkinson was cool. These two books were both set in Melbourne, and I really like books that are set in Melbourne because it's cool to be like, hey, I know that place that you just went to. I've been there before. It's a great time. The Boundless Sublime, also by Lily Wilkinson, was really scary and about cults, but I enjoyed it. New Unselected Poems by Mary Oliver. I read that book. It was poetry, and it was poetry exists and it's not terrible. Drawing Funny by Oslo Davis? Maybe, it's on my shelf. That's further away than this image on the screen. I think it's Davis. This was a really quick read. It was about drawing cartoons and stuff. It's pretty cool. Who's That Girl by Vari McFarlane is, I think, the best book I've read all year. It was amazing. It was kind of a rom-com, but not really. It was really much more intelligent than a rom-com, I think. Well, much more intelligent than your average rom-com. Is rom-com even a book genre, or is that a television genre that I've just forced upon a book that might not be that genre? Who's to say? It's about this girl who goes to a wedding and accidentally kisses the groom, oops, and then has to leave her workplace and instead goes and works with this famous guy who's an actor, and they kind of hate each other, and it's great. It's a really good book. Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur was another poetry book that I read, so I'm clearly turning into a hipster, slowly. The Astrologer's Daughter by Rebecca Lim, incidentally also set in Melbourne. Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe by Benjamin Eliasanis. I'm pretty sure that's not how you pronounce your name, Benjamin. This was a really good book. This was really, like, cinematic, if you could describe a book as cinematic, maybe not. But this, and A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sarah Bernard, which was also a really good book, both books that Lena and Lucy and Hannah read on the Bang Book Club, which is a podcast that I follow that's a book club. It's really cool. So those are books from that, and it's great. If you want me to go into detail about any of these books, leave a comment in the comments. Yay! I might do that in a future video, or in the comments below, or anything, because, you know, you ask and I deliver is basically how our relationship works at the moment, because I clearly have no ideas. I do have ideas, they just take time, and it's currently 8:08 and there's football tonight. I should film these earlier. Anyway, I'm currently reading The Messenger by Marcus Zusak, and I've nearly finished that. And then I'm gonna read the first of the Discworlds, which I'm quite excited about. And I'm also gonna listen to the audiobook of another Barry McFarlane book because I just loved Who's That Girl so much. Leave one book that I absolutely have to read in the comments below. I know there's one. I know that you're thinking of it. Leave it in the comments and I'll probably read it. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. I'll see you in another one tomorrow. Sword-leaved Haley Burn!